So, question for you, going back to the idea of frames.
Frames.
So, if I understand it correctly, it's our consciousness that moves between the realities.
No, it's the reality that moves through your consciousness. But you're projecting it as if you are moving through the reality.
Okay. So, you've talked before about if you want to manifest something, you can switch from frame to frame.
Yes, that's how you manifest.
That's how you're manifesting.
Yes, because you're creating a manifestation in a framework of space and time.
So I was listening to an exercise that you had talked about before on a tape called Shifting Through Infinity.
Yes.
And in the exercise, what you do is you imagine a scene, you freeze it.
Yes.
And then you start to move through it, look at the frames, and then start to click them forward.
Yes.
And so I was doing this exercise, and after it was over, I noticed a couple of things.
Yes.
One of the things is I looked at my watch, and I said to myself, I could create a frame where I have a completely different watch on my hand.
Yes.
But then I noticed that my beliefs kind of kicked in saying, that's not in the line of procession. There's no progress in that. Having a completely different watch on your hand would break the cause and effect.
Then I realized... Now, one moment. Understand that there is potentially a difference between recognizing that as a belief and also recognizing that as simply irrelevant for your life path.
Okay.
You need to determine which it actually is.
It's just not relevant.
There you go.
I mean, I don't need another watch, but
all right.
What it kicked up was the whole idea of just having completely different frames and this is what I'm really getting at. Is cause and effect a belief?
Cause and effect is a space-time way of understanding that things are connected.
Okay. But if you're flicking through the frames, it is cause and belief.
Cause and effect is a space-time illusion of separation to let you know that you're just looking at one thing that simply exists in both states.
Okay.
Does that help?
Yes. So with cause and effect, they're essentially two states that are just separate from each other.
That have been made to appear separate, yes. Okay. And you can actually even use an effect to create a cause. This is what we're talking about.
Yes. Okay.
When we say that you zero out every moment, you're a new person.
Mm-hmm.
And if you truly understand that you're a new person, that has to mean you have a new history. Mm-hmm. Because from a space-time perspective, the logic of it in a space-time framework is to be the person that you are now, you must have had a different history than was there before in order for that history to have made you who you are now. So you're creating an effect and creating a cause to go with that effect.
A matching cause.
A matching cause.
Okay.
So that's what you're doing all the time in the idea of zeroing out and redefining yourself, is you're creating the effect and then the cause comes with it. It has to.
Okay. So in terms of, say, a practical application of this.
That wasn't a practical one?
Well, I really want to kind of get it into my system, so to speak. So say, for example, you had like a bodily injury, like Daryl has a damaged finger. Say if you had a cut or something like that. Can you skip a lot of what we would call the healing frames?
If it is relevant for you to do so, yes. But it may not always be relevant. You may desire on some level, or at least believe on some level, that you require a certain process that uses time and change in order to develop a deeper appreciation of what the lesson is within that experience.
Okay.
So yes, it can be done. Will it be done? Depends on many different factors in different people for why they have created it to begin with.
Okay. And similarly, could you apply this whole idea, this notion to, for example, speeding up the period of time, like it might take you to learn a language or to learn an instrument or something like that?
Yes. You can just know it. If it is relevant for you to do so, you can just know it because you have become the version of you that already knows it. This is what you see in the example that we have mentioned before, that many of you are already familiar with, of the idea of medical differences in multiple personalities within one body.
Right.
One personality might have a particular medical condition. The other personality doesn't. There's no time there. There's no shifting of process there. There is simply, it is here, then it is not. Because these are two different people, literally. Mm-hmm. So yes, you can do that. But is it relevant is always the question. Not is it possible? Of course it's possible. Is it relevant? Is it probable for you? That's the question.
Okay.
So, like the watch issue, you realized that wasn't necessarily a relevant experience for you, but at least it gave you an understanding to some degree that it might be something that could be in a different context or with a different thing. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. So it's at least giving you an opportunity to explore that concept. Or it's telling you, watch what you wish for.
Very funny. Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
You are very welcome.